From Springfield to Dusty. Charlotte and Amelia were the best of friends. Taking a long trip to Lake Michigan, they switched off between choices of albums to blast and sing along to. That is, until the CD player broke. Between NSYNC and Green Day, or even the Dixie Chicks, they knew no singular genre, and their sing-along voices knew not thresholds of decibel. They were 3/4 of the way between Oregon and Michigan when a horrible pothole ended their musical fun for good. The tape player was already out of order, and the two women had no patience for radio advertisements and changing channels. The long-awaited conversation had begun. "So it seems we're to not have music," sighed Amelia. "So it seems," Charlotte agreed, and then added, "Maybe we can get it fixed somewhere in Michigan. If our budget allows it. We saved $100 for keepsakes and fines. We will be sad if we blow it all on being able to listen to music. We're going to get bored on this 30-hour trip back home." Charlotte slowed her brakes to the red light. The two soaked in some silence as the light turned green and the Toyota van cruised away. Charlotte remembered something. "Hey, Amelia, it's something I totally forgot." "What did we forget, Cass?" Amelia was too quick to worry. "No, silly. I got a portable radio somewhere buried in the back. It has a tape player and all the tapes that we need are in the glove compartment." Charlotte took a turn into a Wendy's parking lot and added, "Besides, I'm hungry." "Oh, great, and me too." Amelia returned to her nonchalant, content smile, and as the silver van parked into a spot, the two women unfastened their seatbelts. "I'm buying the biggest, fattest burger they sell," Charlotte was saying. Amelia was digging in her purse for her wallet. Charlotte, I have some bad news." Amelia began to sob. "Please tell me you didn't leave your wallet in Montana." Charlotte remembered that stop where they got a hotel and went bar hopping. Amelia had been starved for attention that night, chatting up everyone, the bartender, the bar back, anyone she could find. Charlotte remembered stopping Amelia from getting another drink, for she had had plenty. "Yes," Amelia cried. "I think I did." The two women argued over whether it might be at the Dull Horn Saloon or the motel where the Roaches stayed for free. They began digging in the van amongst all the camping supplies for Michigan, amid the bags of snacks, luggage, and ice coolers. Finally, they pulled the passenger seat up and found it under a sandwich bag from Carl's Jr. The two laughed and cried a bit, hugging in relief, apologizing for being snippy to one another. The good news was that they had Amelia's wallet, and the portable tape player was set up to play some classic albums after their quest for big, fat, juicy burgers, blanketed in melted cheese, coated in bacon grease, and a layer of grilled onions. They finished their meal and returned to the road with Huey Lewis playing in the background as they swapped some stories about their days in college together. They were both recent graduates of medicine. Amelia was on a break from her boyfriend, and Charlotte and her decided they needed a break from Springfield. The campsite next to Lake Michigan was waiting for them, with tons of mosquitoes and sweltering, humid heat. They showered after a nice swim and decided to check out a nice tourist town nearby. It was not on the map, but as they drove past the sign for Dusty, Michigan, the town charmed them with its storefronts and historic buildings. Why it was called Dusty they could not tell, because it was a very green town with white, clean sidewalks that trailed off into fresh paved trails that ventured into many nice parks. The people were all happy looking, each stranger wearing a smile as they acknowledged one another in polite nods. There was a petting zoo, an ice cream stand, and a CD and tape store called Hastings that Charlotte and Amelia visited with open wallets. They stopped at a convenience store where they got some sodas and bug spray, for the mosquitoes were fearless and persistent. They both got several bites all down their arms and legs. "I dare say it's awesome here, but these bugs," Charlotte cried out, "they're eating us alive." "Michigan was your idea," Amelia reminded her. Charlotte's response was simply, "Yeah, and I'm willing to take down camp and buy us a hotel if you get us some drinks." They agreed this was a great plan, and they replaced the batteries in the tape player to listen to some George Strait while they sprayed each other down and took down their camp quickly. Despite having bug spray, the two just got bitten more and more and agreed their plan should have been made sooner. And also they conceded that no one could have known the bugs would be this bad. The Franklin Hotel was waiting for them down the street. Its 3 stories towered over the ladies who looked up at that sanctuary from flying insects, hoping there wouldn't be roaches, but nonetheless happy to get inside. The clerk was reading a newspaper and chewing gum. "A room with 2 beds, please." Charlotte had her wallet ready. The clerk kept reading for what seemed a minute before Charlotte cleared her throat and said, "Sir?" He looked up wearily with half-closed eyelids. "What?" "We'd like to book a room with 2 beds tonight." "We only got 2 rooms left. They each have a queen-size bed." He chewed on, almost ready to start reading again before Charlotte agreed to take the queen bed for her and Amelia. "Guess it'll be cramped," she shrugged at her. "We can wear long sleeves, use more spray, and get some drinks if you're still down, Amelia." Amelia enthusiastically agreed. They got into the room, which had its queen bed, a television, and clock radio. There was a closet to hang clothes in, and 2 nightstands on each side of the bed, both equipped with a new King James edition. "2 Bibles, eh?" Charlotte laughed. "A bit excessive. We can have a Bible study after we get drunk," Amelia joked back. Now, 2 drinks each, and I think that we should stop." Charlotte raised her eyes up to Amelia, who reluctantly agreed, but returned Charlotte's smile. At the bar, the ladies had their usual 4 drinks and played some pool, filling the jukebox and looking around to see not many others minus the kitchen and bar staff. "Gosh, not much of a night scene here," Charlotte said, leaning on her friend's shoulder. Amelia, who was about to buy a 5th drink, decided not to, with Charlotte's approval, and then she decided to go get one anyways. She scratched at her neck fervently before Charlotte asked to examine her bite, which was bleeding a bit. They danced a bit together to some slow tune that they decided to pay a quarter for. "Lord, we gotta get back home." Amelia raised the fruity cocktail up to her lips and dropped the glass between the 2 women, who were now soaked in the smell of sugary alcoholic strawberries. "Oh, great," a frustrated Charlotte said. Amelia laughed and pulled her friend in, dancing and pulling Charlotte along to forget the mishap. They paid their tab and made sure they had everything before leaving the bar. A 10-minute walk to the hotel was miserable. The bugs swarmed to the sweet aroma of their clothes, and the moon was high up in the sky, full and bright. The next morning, the lazy hotel clerk knocked on their door, for it was 30 minutes past check-in time. He didn't get an answer. So he fumbled a bit for his keys and finally unlocked the door. The television was still on, announcing the president had been accused of having sexual relations in the Oval Office. Their luggage was still there, but the bed and bathroom were empty. About 2 blocks down the street, a child riding his bike came to a stop. Then he stared at what seemed like an unfortunate incident. Then came a storekeeper, a mailman, and a cop. "Looks like we got another one, Tom," the cop said to the storekeeper, who began to put on his long rubber gloves. The crowd quickly assembled around the scene, all talking with rapid-fire succession about how nobody in Dusty seemed to get hurt, but visitors did. About how something really needed to get done, about how bad the bugs were this year. And in the center of all the commotion lied 2 corpse-shaped heaps consisting of little black bloodsuckers, buzzing and flying about, shifting around the bodies of Amelia and Charlotte, who laid there with open eyes. They confirmed the town's year-long hunch. The bugs were bad this year.